States are escalating to the point where things are inevitable, where we're seeing attacks and battling and the increased chances of war. Can you guys confirm what you're hearing out there? Guys, literally, U.S. officials are warning of escalations. Iran attacks U.S. military, and we're embarking upon the point of no return. Many are saying that we should prepare for World War III. Now, before I continue, guys, just drop me a quick comment down below. Let me know if you guys can hear me in the comment section. I would really, really appreciate that. Just 2 hours ago, the second Israeli airstrike on Jabalia kills dozens, according to a hospital director. The Israeli airstrike that rocked Gaza refugee camp of Jabalia killed at least 80 people, according to the hospital servicing them. He said that the majority of the casualties were women and children and that hundreds more were injured. The Israeli Defense Forces confirmed earlier today that the blast in Fallujah neighborhood of the Jabalia refugee camp was due to an airstrike. It said Hamas terrorists were eliminated in the strike. Now, U.S. fighter jet strike Iran-linked sites in Syria in attack to retaliation for attacks on U.S. troops. Guys, we're seeing it here. It is literally just escalating by the day. By the way, guys, I just want to thank you guys for dropping a quick comment. No show, all good. Thank you for confirming on the sound. Paul, thank you. Loud and clear, bro. I really do appreciate you guys. Yeah, so moving on. U.S. fighter jets launched airstrikes on 2 locations in eastern Syria located in Iran's Revolutionary Guard groups, according to the Pentagon. And the retaliation is for a slew of drone and missile attacks against U.S. bases, against U.S. military and personnel in that particular region earlier last week. President Biden had issued multiple warnings to Iran because basically it's believed that Iran is funding Hamas behind the scenes, warning that if Iran or Hamas continues to attack U.S. troops, there will be consequences. Now, I have to ask you guys, do you believe that other countries are fearful or even respect President Biden's warnings about these consequences that would be inflicted if this type of behavior, if these attacks continue to ensue against U.S. troops? Thank you guys for confirming. Mario Rosa, I see you. Rose, thank you. Hello, people. I appreciate you guys dropping some comments down below to confirm that you guys are good on sound. Right. So Air Force Brigadier Pat Ryder said on Friday that the airstrikes near Bacoma by F-16 and F-15 fighter aircraft targeted weapons storage facilities and ammunition storage facilities used by the IRGC and affiliated groups. Both facilities were completely destroyed. And a senior U.S. military official said that there had been Iranian-aligned militia and IRGC personnel on the base and no civilians. The senior defense official said that the sites were chosen because the IRGC stores the types of munitions that were used in the strikes against U.S. Air Force bases and troops. Now, guys, recently I had shared with you how Iran was warning the U.S. that we would not be spared. Like, our American soil is literally being threatened by Iran. So Iran warned that the U.S. won't be spared if Israel-Hamas war spreads. Millions searching the term World War III literally confirms what everybody is worried about at this point. And what everybody believes is the inevitable escalation at this point. And we've heard from Tucker Carlson indicating that abrupt change is coming, warning that America is on the brink of collapse. And he also told the American people that many people are concerned about the end times, as he's alluding to the U.S. economy's troubles as well, not to mention the economic stress placed on the country by being involved in multiple wars, whether directly in these wars or providing the economic backing behind these proxy wars. Ultimately, it's all the same from a financial standpoint. Now, according to the Pentagon, there have been at least 20 attacks on U.S. military bases and personnel in Iraq since mid-October, including the new ones that had happened as of recent. Now, you know, these updates are increasing in frequency, and this is not a good sign. Nobody wants this kind of news. I don't want to share this kind of news, but this is what's happening, guys. And by the way, I just want to thank you guys for dropping the likes in the videos. I really appreciate you guys. And if you guys appreciate the content, if you haven't already, please drop a like for the video. I really do appreciate it. So Syrian opposition activists confirmed that the U.S. airstrikes in Syria's eastern province of Del Azor. Omar Ablu Leia, a Europe-based activist who heads the Deir Ezzor 24 media outlet, said that the target was a well-known area as the farms outside the town of Madin. Now, he said that the second airstrike hit an area as the Green Belt, also known as the Green Belt. And according to this spokesperson, many people were evacuated before the strikes because the retaliation was actually expected. Oh, man. Now, according to the Pentagon, there have been at least 20 attacks on these U.S. Air Force bases. And if these attacks didn't take place by the U.S. military, our threats, our warnings would be less effective. So totally understand that these actions had to be taken. A letter sent Friday to congressional leaders, President Biden wrote, the strikes were intended to establish deterrence and were conducted in a manner to limit the risk of escalation and to avoid civilian casualties. I directed the strikes in order to protect and defend our military personnel, to degrade and disrupt the ongoing series of attacks against the United States and our partners, and to further deter Iran and Iran-backed militia groups from conducting or supporting further attacks on United States personnel and facilities. And that's not all, guys. You know, we talk about these attacks, these battles, these wars, escalations taking place in these faraway lands, such as Israel, Gaza. And, you know, we think that these things are taking place in these faraway lands and, oh, it can't happen here on American soil, but we're actually seeing disruptions and protests. And these protests, they're starting off peaceful, but they're escalating into becoming a little violent. And in a previous video, I showed you guys the airport, which was stormed. And essentially, the airport, which was stormed, they were searching for Palestinian passengers on the airplane. Now, just hours ago, Northwest Syria witnesses the most intense military escalation in 3 years, guys. More than 65 civilians have been killed. Since the beginning of October, cities and towns in northwestern Syria have witnessed a military escalation by Syrian government forces and Russia, the most intense in nearly 3 years. Over 65 civilians, including more than 20 children and 10 men, have been killed, and more than 265 civilians, including 80 children and 45 women, have been injured. Things are continuing to escalate, guys. And the senior defense official told reporters that the airstrikes will have a significant impact on the ability of Iranian proxy groups to continue to attack U.S. forces. Now, I got to ask you guys, I've seen a number of comments from people indicating, you know what, is it time to leave the United States? Is it safe here anymore in the United States? Well, I got to ask you, and this is really a question for my audience. If you were to leave the United States, what country would you go to? Where would you go that would be safer than the United States? That's a legitimate question for you guys. So just drop me a quick comment down below where you think would be safer. Ancients knew, why don't we? What's good? Thank you for the comments. Linda Lacasey, I see you. I think most, I'm just reading Linda's comment. I think most see Biden as a big joke. Okay, thank you for your comment. Cam says they will make it spread. Chaz Perkins says Kansas City is tuned in. And speaking of Kansas City, not that it happened in Kansas City, these protests, these borderline riots are breaking out in cities like New Orleans. We've seen it in New York City. You know, we're seeing it all over the United States at this point, and it's definitely escalating. They shut down the New York City Brooklyn Bridge just the other day. And these protests, in fact, We've actually heard from the FBI director, Christopher Wray, just the other day, warning U.S. citizens here on U.S. soil to be prepared for any type of Hamas leadership issuing any type of attack on U.S. soil. So this is getting real, guys, and we certainly need to remain vigilant. Rena Rich, come on, this is going too far. Hey, Rena, I'm with you on that. Jessica Yanich, I think they're going to open the draft first. Are they going to recruit? I just saw. Really? Are you seeing confirmation that they're going to open the draft? I have heard of talk regarding the draft being reinstated, but I haven't seen any confirmation just yet on that. So unless it came out in the last maybe 12, 24 hours, I don't know anything about that as of yet. Cam says taking advantage of people that are not paying attention. Exactly. And a lot of people have been questioning, even in the comments of today's video and previous videos, is this a distraction? Is this a way to put fear into the hearts of Americans and to make Americans more easily able to be controlled by the powers that be? That's a great question. I'd love to know what you guys think on that. What's your take? Vinny D. Mundugo from New Zealand, thank you for dropping a comment. Let me know you're here. And of course, the problem with the borders, right? Who's coming in? Are the people who would come in to wish or execute on ill intentions for the United States, are they already here? Like, even if, because a lot of people have commented, we need to shut down the borders, north and south. But even if we were to do that, if the people who would do us harm are already here, what good is that really doing beyond preventing additional evildoers from coming in to do the same thing? Barbara Lynch says nowhere to hide. Cam says more wars, more money. Just Me says I'm scared to death. This is awful. What's going on, Cash Ryan? What's good? What's going on? The world is crazy now, my friend. I totally agree with you. I really appreciate the comments, you guys. Thank you. Just start digging. Live underground. Laugh out loud. Yeah, Vinny, I think you're kidding, but a part of me kind of thinks like you might be actually serious about that. So Cash Ryan says no draft reinstatement yet. Thank you for confirming that. No Show 21 says refuse to fight. Flubber Ghosted said, I was going to take a trip to EU next year, but too much war going on. Hey, I don't blame you. It's I don't know if that would necessarily be my most immediate vacation destination. Certainly not at this time, right? And, what's wild is that all of this began just a couple of weeks ago when the world was, just kind of blown away by what Hamas did when they attacked Israel. And, that was the spark that literally set off this entire chain reaction of events with repercussions that have literally been felt, long before the spotlight actually turned to the United States in our stance on this particular matter. And, in the aftermath of the Hamas attack, President Joe Biden, he didn't mince any words. He issued a very stern warning, not to any particular individual or an abstract entity, but just to a very real and potentially volatile player on the world stage, Iran. Although the entity itself is real, the exact warning may be a little bit off target. Now, you might be asking why. Well, all of this kind of boils down to the fact that Iran openly provides financial support to Hamas, right? And so this very organization's ultimately responsible for the attacks on Israel. The United States, you guys see, it's a staunch ally of Israel. And it has been for many, many years. In fact, if you look at the United States budget, there are line items literally for Israel. There is annual funding for Israel constantly. And of course, there are many different people who oppose the United States. And so when I say many different people, I actually should say many different countries that oppose the United States, which is rather concerning, especially when you look at the fact that we're involved in multiple proxy wars. We have our military enlistings or military enlistments at an all-time low, meaning new people who are joining our U.S. military has decreased dramatically over the years. But in addition to that, we're spreading ourselves across so many different fronts from a global perspective that it makes many people question how strong are we to be able to protect ourselves right here on American soil. So those are legitimate concerns. Julie says, in times of war, good luck being welcome in other countries. And I totally get it. And speaking of other countries, the question that a lot of people, the question that I've seen asked is, well, what happens if all of these other countries that don't necessarily support our directive, our mission, our stance, our position globally were to kind of team up against the United States? Now, I mean, there's a lot going on here. Iran, Israel, Hamas, Taiwan, China, Russia, Ukraine. We have a lot of players involved here. And so it could get really, really dicey and very, very interesting, but not in a good way. So anyway, like if we were to fast forward to the past week, things have just taken a dangerous turn, just to keep it simply, right? U.S. troops stationed in the Middle East have literally been hit not once, not twice, but over 20 times, And these attacks have resulted in nearly, 30 soldiers getting injured in the line of duty. Cam says, "Pull our money back, refocus." And speaking of our money from a United States perspective, right? Where are we at with the national debt? If I'm not mistaken, last I checked, the national debt was somewhere around $33 trillion in national debt, right? Well, if you guys know anything about finance, personal finance, there's something called net worth. Your net worth is basically your assets, everything that you own that's worth anything, cash in the bank, investments, savings account, stocks, mutual funds, bonds, gold, silver, real estate, your car. So basically your jewelry, maybe art, maybe the value of your business, all of these are considered assets, right? And so your assets minus your liabilities. What are your liabilities? Anything you owe money on. So credit card debt, your mortgage debt, if you have a car payment, like the loan associated with your car, right? So all of these things are considered debt. So basically you take everything you own, which is your assets minus your debts, and that is your net worth. Now, if we look at the United States, we owe roughly $33 trillion worth of debt. Now, I was on the Federal Reserve's website earlier today, and based on what I'm seeing, it looks like the United States total assets are less than $5 trillion. So if we were to think about this for a second, try to break it down to a level that most Americans can understand, right? If these figures are accurate, which they're on the Federal Reserve's website, so I would imagine that they're pretty freaking accurate. The United States national debt is $33 trillion, but we only have about $5 trillion in assets. That would be a negative net worth of like negative $28 trillion. This is rather concerning. And this is only getting worse as we continue to fund taxpayer dollars overseas to handle wars that are, outside of the United States. Nama says, Bahamas in the house. What is going on? Thank you for checking in. BWS 444 says, prep, pray, and stay ready for anything. I couldn't agree with that anymore. So what are you guys doing to prepare? I'd love to hear what you guys are doing to prepare. Are you guys hearing anything? Are you seeing anything? We've been warned by the FBI Director Christopher Wray that Americans here on U.S. soil need to be prepared for anything and to be on the watch as things continue to escalate. Now, really quick, just drop me a quick 1 or 2 in the comment section down below. Drop me a 1 if you believe that the world respects President Biden's warnings and will stand down since he has warned Iran, for example, to stop attacking U.S. troops. Or drop a number 2 if you believe that the world doesn't have any fear in President Biden's warning. I'd love to hear from you guys. So drop a 1 if you believe that the world is drop a 1 if you believe that the world respects President Biden's warnings. Drop a 2 if you think that the world does not respect President Biden's warnings. I'd love to see what you guys think about that because he is the face of the nation. So now, based on what you have just commented, I'd like to ask you one more question. Drop a 3 if you feel that if former President Trump was in office, that they would respect Trump. Drop a 4 if you believe that if former President Trump was in office, that they would not respect his wishes or his warnings. So drop a and this so this is for if you believe that Trump issuing a warning, if he were president, that the world would respect him. Drop a number 3. If you think that if Trump were president and he issued a warning that the world would not respect him, drop a 4. Let me see what you guys are putting in the comment section down below. And you guys can also check in the comments and see how other people, we are the American people, guys. So when you guys are commenting here, you're able to see what does the average American person think that countries outside the United States, how they look at us. Do they see us as a powerful nation still? Are we still the world superpower? That's a big question. It really is a big question at this point. I'm getting lots of comments from you guys. Oh, wow. Lots of 2s in here. Lots of 2s, lots of 3s. Oh, wow. Only 1 4. Wow. So one person doesn't think that Trump's warnings would be respected, but it looks like pretty much everyone else is behind the strength and respect that former President Trump had. Interesting. Now, by the way, we've got hundreds of people here in the live. If you guys could, at least half of you, just kind of drop a quick like. It only takes a second. Definitely helps out to let YouTube know that you care about being informed. You want to hear more about these types of updates, and it lets this video be able to reach more and more people. So I totally appreciate that, you guys. Yeah, if we could just get at least half the audience here dropping a quick like, it only takes a second. And if you enjoy this update, if you enjoy these types of updates and types of information, if you appreciate the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I love to keep you guys updated and informed. So the Biden administration has not accused Iran of having a direct role in the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. And it said that it appears so far that Tehran was not aware of it beforehand, but the U.S. has the U.S. has noted that Iran has long supported Hamas and has raised concerns that it has raised concern that Iran and its proxies could turn the conflict into a wider war. Further escalations, guys. Austin said that the United States does not seek a broader conflict, but if Iranian proxy groups continue, the U.S. won't hesitate to take additional action to protect its forces. Now, according to the Pentagon, all the U.S. personnel hurt in the militant attacks received minor injuries and all returned to duty. In addition, a contractor suffered a cardiac arrest and died while seeking shelter from a possible drone attack. The retaliatory strikes came as no surprise. Officials at the Pentagon and the White House made it abundantly clear for the past week that the United States would respond, with writers saying again Thursday that it would be at the time and place of our choosing. The latest spate of strikes by the Iranian-linked groups came in the wake of a deadly explosion at a Gaza hospital, triggering protests in a number of Muslim nations. The Israeli military has relentlessly attacked Gaza in retaliation for the devastating Hamas rampage in southern Israel nearly 3 weeks ago. But Israel has denied responsibility for all of the Al-Ahai hospital blasts, and the U.S. has said its intelligence assessment found that Tel Aviv was not to blame. So these updates continue to come out. It seems like the pace of the updates are coming out on a more and more regular, fast-paced basis. I'm going to do my best to keep you guys posted and up to date. If you could drop a quick like for the video, I totally appreciate that. Consider subscribing and also check out my previous videos, and I'll catch you guys on the next update. If you're a Christian, if you pray, please pray for the United States. Take care, guys.